the National Defensive Player of the Week, KD McDaniel. And his legend just keeps growing with 3 sacks. Good day, Internet. Let's have a good one. Hagan here with episode 10 of the Coach Charley Roy Dynasty. Coach Roy has led the Panthers to an 8-0 start on the season. The Panthers have won 3 straight road conference games with a 4th in a row this week in Harrisburg, Virginia to take on James Madison. We're going to do something different this week. We're later in the season. Let's dive in and see how our best players are performing. Christian Velu, beautiful season so far, completing 69% of his passes, has over 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. Freddie Brock is leading the way on the ground with 139 carries for 816 yards and 6 touchdowns on the year. He's averaging 5.9 yards a carry. And Christian Velu is our second leading rusher with just 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. Our leading receiver is Taylor Williams, which comes as no surprise. You see him in the highlights all the time, 29 catches for just under 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dorian Fleming, 18 catches, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then we have a few other receivers over 100 yards. We spread the ball around, but we are primarily a running team. On defense here, we have our leading tackler, Jeremiah Johnson, and then our free safety, Kenyatta Watson, is our second leading tackler, so a lot of stuff getting to a second level, or our safeties are coming up and making plays. As you all know, the star of the defense, KD McDaniel, has 14 sacks on the year. Trailing behind him is outside linebacker Kevin Swintz with 10, also a great season. Leading the team in interceptions is Gavin Pringle, and we have Isaiah Guy with 2. Leading the defense in forced fumbles is still KD McDaniel, the wrecking crew that he is. And we have Gavin Pringle has taken back 2 of his 3 interceptions for touchdowns. Not a bad year. And in our kicking game, Liam Rickham is a perfect 8 for 8 for field goals, but he has missed 1 extra point on the season. In our kick return game, Deuce Walker has returned 1 for a touchdown. Taylor Williams, along from being a stud wideout for us, he's also returned 2 punts for touchdowns this season. The big stat to look for this week during the game is outside linebacker KD McDaniel has 14 sacks on the year, as we just talked about, and the Sun Belt Conference record here is 16 by Javon Solomon of Troy. So if he has a 2-sack game, he ties it. Anything more, and he breaks the season record for the Sun Belt Conference for sacks in a season. We'll be keeping our eye on that one in the coming weeks. All right, let's take a look at our Heisman race. Here we go. At the bottom, we have quarterback Avery Johnson of Kansas State. We have Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. Cam Ward is 3rd with Miami. A surprise here, we got Taylon Green out of Arkansas. And then leading the way so far is Will Howard of Ohio State. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple weeks. Let's talk about bowl projections here. We have Georgia State right now projected to face Tulane in the Frisco Bowl. And before we get into recruiting, let's take a look at the playoff bracket. Up top, we have 12 Miami University versus 5 Oregon so far, number 5 seed. And we have 8 and 9, we have Missouri and Ole Miss. 11-6, we have Utah and Oklahoma. At 10-7, we have Kansas State and Alabama, and as our 4 seed, Virginia Tech, our 3 seed, Iowa State, our 2 seed, Georgia, and right now the number 1 seed, Ohio State, with a front runner for the Heisman and Will Howard. It's going to be an interesting couple weeks to see how this plays out as well. Georgia State remains undefeated. Do they sneak into that 12 seed and replace Miami? Be interesting to see. Let's get into recruiting. All right, let's jump into recruiting here. Still first on a lot of boards. Here we go. Derek Timms, the tight end. We do need to contact family and friends and up the ante as we've fallen behind Liberty. So maybe see if we can hard sell him really quick. Here we go. We're going to hard sway Dion Steffen on playing time, playing style, and proximity to home, which is A+, and A for us. All right, we haven't been recruiting McNitt yet. Very hard, so we're going to add 15 for him. Bulaga, we're going to put 15 on him. We need to make sure we get a right guard. And we need to make sure we get a center. That would kind of complete a good season of recruiting for us at the offensive line spots. We haven't gotten any DN commits, so we're going to keep pushing hard. We got to win the trenches if we want to be a great program. So let's keep working on the beef. All right, let's see. Let's recruit Joshua Sharp. Let's see what he's working with. Oh, we found a gem. Beautiful. Offer a scholarship immediately to scout Lee DeBose. Another gem. Let's go. We are out of time though, so found 2 gems with our recent scouting, both right guards. We're gonna have to try and work hard because they're pretty influenced right now. Right, we're all set with the recruiting. We're gonna head to our 4th straight road game. Will the streak continue? The pressure continues to mount on Georgia State and a conquest to stay perfect. We'll get into highlights of Georgia State at James Madison next. After a scoreless first quarter, James Madison gets things going early in the second. Quarterback Alonzo Barnett III hits big tight end Taylor Thompson on a crossing route. Thompson goes down the right sideline all the way to the house for a 63-yard touchdown. The Dukes take a 7-0 lead. Georgia State is unable to respond as Christian Velu throws an interception on the first play following the TD, courtesy of cornerback Terrence Spence. 2 plays later, Barnett again finds tight end Taylor Thompson for the touchdown, 22 yards on the RPO to give James Madison the 14-0 lead. Christian Velu's bad start would only get worse. Velu would throw back-to-back interceptions, this time by safety Jacob Thomas. Georgia State's defense would answer. On the very first play following the turnover, cornerback Gavin Pringle would jump an out route for the interception. Following a Panthers punt, the defense would make another big play. Star outside linebacker Katie McDaniel would get his 15th sack of the year via a strip sack. He would also be the one to recover the fumble. The Panthers offense would squander the opportunity yet again. Christian Velu would throw his 3rd interception of the half as linebacker Jacob Dobbs would step in front of the intended receiver and return the ball all the way to the Panthers' 7-yard line. The Dukes would punch it in the very next play with Barnett finding running back Ayo Adai for the 7-yard touchdown, Barnett's 3rd passing touchdown of the first half, giving James Madison a commanding 21-0 lead. The Panthers offense would go into half showing signs of life. Velu would hit Taylor Williams for a 14-yard gain. Then, with 9 seconds left, Velu would scramble out left and throw up a jump ball. Kadarius Thompson would climb the ladder to snag the ball, putting the Panthers in field goal range. Liam Rickman would knock through the 35-yard field goal and the Panthers' perfect season would be in jeopardy as they trailed 21-3 at half. After a long drive to open the second half, the Panthers would settle for a 29-yard field goal by Rickman, cutting the lead 21-6. Georgia State's Sacks or Sixes defense responds yet again. Safety Jeremiah Johnson picks off Duke's quarterback Alonzo Barnett and takes it 31 yards to the crib to make it a 1-score game. After a successful PAT, James Madison is up 21-13. James Madison would respond, and on 2nd and 3 from their own 26, the fake jet sweep would get the defense to bite, and Barnett would find a wide-open Cam Ross for the 74-yard score, putting James Madison up 28-13. Early in the 4th, down 15, the Panthers would go for it on 4th and 4 from their own 25. Christian Velu would drop it in the bucket to wide out Ted Hurst, would find his way to the end zone for 75 yards. Following the PAT, the score would be 28-20 James Madison. Midway through the 4th, James Madison would add a 27-yard field goal to push the lead to 11, 31-20. With 1:33 left in the game, Christian Velu would scramble his way in from 5 yards to keep the Panthers' comeback hopes alive. After a failed 2-point conversion, the score would be 31-26 with 1:29 left in the game. After a failed onside kick, the Panthers would force a punt and the offense would have a shot to win the game. Starting at their own 5 with 1 timeout, Velu would hit Taylor Williams for 23 yards. They would hurry to the line only to see Velu sack, forcing the Panthers to use their final timeout. Velu would feel the pressure and throw the ball away. He would be flagged for intentional grounding. Velu would air it out to Taylor Williams one last time, but the ball would drop incomplete to end the game. And for the first time in the Charley Roy era, the Panthers would feel defeat and fall to 8-1 on the year. The 4th straight road game in a row would be too much to handle. The dreams at the playoffs are over, but a conference title is still within reach. Thank you for tuning into episode 10 of the Coach Charley Roy Dynasty. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for episode 11.